Hello, everyone. Welcome back to On Point Politics. And today I'm going to be going over Donald Trump's case as to why he could potentially win a landslide in 2024. Now, if you guys do enjoy this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on those post notifications so you don't miss another video that I post, and consider joining the channel for just $4.99 a month to get access to our exclusive Discord community and get access to exclusive videos once a week where I'll be doing in-depth analysis of polling data from various polling companies. And without further ado, let's get into the video. And so right now, with Donald Trump, he is polling significantly high. If we actually refresh, he is more than likely, yep, he's still at the 4.3 margin. January 29th, Biden was ahead by 4.8 points in 2020. January 29th of 2016, Clinton was up by 2.7 percentage points. And Trump has his biggest polling lead. And not only that, he's almost hitting his highest raw vote share he's had in polling history. Here, he was at 47.4. Right now, he's at 47.3, practically the same. So he's basically at his peak. And Biden is currently down at 43%, which is not the lowest he's been in the aggregate, but that is definitely some of the lowest numbers he's had in the aggregate recently. The lowest number, he was at 42.4, I believe, or something like that. It was like really, really low. It was like 42.4 or 42.8, but Trump was still slightly below him. But over time, he kind of caught up as time went on. And so now Trump is in position to win the Electoral College. If he were to get this popular vote margin, he could potentially win the Electoral College by about 350 Electoral College votes. And I'm kind of going to go over that hypothetical scenario with you guys and kind of explain my analysis on it. Now, first of all, in all of these polls, Trump is winning independents by over 5 percentage points or more in all of the polling. If you look at 2020, Biden, according to CNN exit polls, won them by 18 points and barely won the election across these three swing states by only 43,000 votes combined. So if we were to go to a hypothetical map, we could say, okay, maybe all of these red states would basically go solid red over 10-point victories in a 4.3 popular vote scenario. I would put Florida in that category. Texas would be also above a 10-point victory as well. South Carolina would be over a 10-point win as well. I'd also put the Maine 2nd District as a over 10-point win. And so here he already right out the gate has 219 safe states in his column. Now for Biden, all of these would probably still be safe, more than likely. Maybe Oregon falls under 10 points. Colorado would be around a 5-point win at that point. We're going to get to Hawaii in a second because I'm going to explain. This is my hypothetical scenario. If Trump were to win by 4.3 percentage points, I am going to explain some of these other states that you may or may not be confused about. I think that some of the Northeast would get a little bit closer. I think that New Jersey would get especially close in this scenario. I think it would become a lean state in this case. The Maine at large might actually end up flipping in this case. It may actually end up being a very narrow flip for Trump in this case. And so these are sort of the swing states left. North Carolina would be probably about a 6 or 7 point win. If you look at the state here, Trump, did somewhat well in some of the rural areas, but could definitely improve a lot of these precincts, and Biden's turnout would hypothetically be a lot more down. And so in this case where he wins the popular vote by 4.3, I could see him winning it by about 8 or 9 points. I think Wisconsin, Georgia, and Arizona would also be the case. I would probably see him winning all of these states by over 5 percentage points. If you look at all the states, Georgia, in a case where Trump wins the popular vote by 4 points, a lot of the black turnout would probably drop. Trump would probably be getting about 25 to 30% of the black vote nationwide, more than likely. A lot of these, closer counties would probably end up flipping. Trump would maximize his base in some of rural Georgia. In Wisconsin, there's plenty of room for him to grow here. You could see a lot of these light pink counties would end up becoming basically solid red, and a lot of these counties up here would basically flip. Madison area, Dem turnout would be bad. Milwaukee, same thing. So I could see him winning about 6, 7 points, and I think Georgia would be about a similar victory. I think Arizona in this case would be almost a little bit above 5. It would probably be a 5.2, 5.3 win. He would improve in Maricopa. And even though the state would technically trend to the left, he would win the popular vote by so much that he would just be winning it by probably about 5 points or so. I think Nevada, Michigan, and Pennsylvania would both be lean victories, but they would be in the 3 to almost 5 point win margin. And a lot of these states you could see in Nevada, he's almost maxed out in the rules, but once he kind of gets these to, shift a little bit, and you also have, the Las Vegas area, once that shifts, it's going to be over because most of these counties out here don't have the highest turnout. Really, everybody's kind of populated, and most of the votes from Nevada come from this little area. So if he were to technically win Clark County, he would effectively win the state pretty much. And so I do believe in a scenario he's winning the popular vote by 4 points. I think he would win it significantly. And so the state would almost be a likely margin. States like Pennsylvania, I think would be a similar scenario. I think the Philadelphia turnout would just be really bad for Biden. A lot of these really, really close counties, I think would just end up flipping to Trump. I think Biden would do a lot worse in the Scranton, Lackawanna area. And so I think that would be his demise in the state. And I think, Detroit, black turnout, very, very low. Same thing in Ann Arbor, turnout very low. Grand Rapids, a lot of the Dem turnout would just kind of collapse. All of the anti-Muslim sentiment for Biden would kind of just absolutely come out in this election. And so that would be the demise for him in that state. And we've left a couple of deep blue states left on the table. Now, I think in a scenario where wins the popular vote by 4, I do think he'd win Nebraska's second district by about like a point and a half or so. I do think in a scenario where he wins the popular vote by 4 percentage points, I do actually have New Mexico flipping on the map. I do have it flipping. The state is the most Hispanic state in the map. He only needs 100,000 votes. If Biden's vote total were to drop, and if Trump's winning the popular vote by 4 points and he presumably gains maybe about 10, 20, 30,000 more voters in the state, I do think he could have the chance of possibly flipping it, in my personal opinion. I do think he could probably flip the state in that case. Minnesota, I think that it would be a really tough one to call, in my personal opinion, but I do think it would also narrowly flip in this scenario. I do think it'd be close, but I think it would narrowly flip. I also think in New Hampshire would be an easy win for Trump. I think that would be very, very easy. I think a lot of these counties would 100% end up flipping into Trump's column. 100% they would end up flipping. And the last few states that I do have here, Illinois, Virginia, and New York. Now, I think Virginia would be a state that if you were to win the popular vote by 4 points, I think it would possibly even be a lean margin. I think it would probably trend away from Minnesota. I think Youngkin's boost would kind of help him out there a little bit. I also believe this is a little bit of a hot take, but I do think if Trump wins the popular vote by 4 points, I do think he would win Illinois and New York both by lean margins alongside Michigan, Pennsylvania, because of the fact, well, maybe New York's a little bit closer, but I do think Illinois and New York would trend to the right in this case because black turnout would be way down in this scenario. And so I do think that would play a factor into some of these victories. If you really look at the states, the only thing that's really carrying the Democrats here is the, Chicago area and the New York City area. So if Trump were to max out support here and the Dem base would just not turn out for Trump in Cook County, that would be a massive problem for Biden, and more than likely he'd probably tank there. If you look at the state of New York, really the only thing that's carrying, Biden here is the New York City area. And if you actually look at the swing from 2020, the New York City area did actually shift Republican, and Trump is probably going to make up all of these rural losses from 2020. Same thing in Chicago. In Chicago, Cook County actually shifted 2.9 points from 2016 as some of the rural areas got a little bit stronger. Now, some of the suburbs outside of Chicago did get more Democratic, but most of the vote share really comes from here. A lot of African American voters are very dissatisfied with Biden's immigration policy, which I have been saying for the past couple of months is going to be his demise. And so now with Hawaii, I do think that the state would just like ever so slightly vote for Biden. It would probably be like a anywhere from a 1 to 3 point victory. I just don't think it would just have enough to flip, but I do think it would be a lot closer than expected because of the fire disaster and Biden just not turning out the same amount of voters. In this election, I'd expect Trump to probably pass 80 million votes, and Biden's probably sitting at around the low 70s, possibly, maybe like right below the 70s. So that's more than likely where I'd see this, map coming to fruition. Trump would gain in a lot of, blue states and would really just expand the map. And really, honestly, I feel like Minnesota should be a lean state in this case. And so this is the final map. If Trump were to win the popular vote by about 4.5 percentage points, Trump would win 394 electoral college votes to Joe Biden's 144. So if you guys did enjoy this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications, considering joining the channel with a membership of just $4.99 a month. I hope to see you guys very, very soon.